Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and break them down into bite-sized pieces. Today, Ripple makes it to the top 100 cross-border payment companies, and it's the only one as far as cryptocurrency companies are concerned. And this particular altcoin looks ready to outpace Ethereum and XRP in 2020. And while I'm kind of leery on this whole prospect, also, Visa is teaming up with Coinbase to issue Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP debit cards, but don't get too excited if you live in the US like myself. And finally, CFTC joins the Telegram versus SEC case, shedding light on likely verdict. And this article is going to play a big part into how everything starts to shake out in the whole, is this a security or is this a commodity type of cases that are going on right now on things like Telegram and XRP. And finally, we'll go over the scam of the day at the very end. Thanks everybody trying to wipe out these scams, really appreciate it, but we still got these four that are very stubborn and they are taking people's money left and right, so hopefully we can do something about it. But let's go into today's stories. Start with that. So first up, Ripple makes it the top 100 cross-border payment companies, and I saw this and I wasn't really too enthralled or really too excited about it until I actually got into the article. So Ripple is the only crypto-related company that made it into this list. The list was divided into several sections that feature the world's biggest banks, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, Citi, UBS, as well as large publicly traded companies such as Visa and PayPal. So this is big news for Ripple to get into this type of elite category. Now, many of the names that appear on the list are actually partners with Ripple, and the most salient examples are MoneyGram and TransferGo. So fantastic type of thing. These are the types of article that I actually salivate over when I look at like what is going on with mass adoption. Are the fundamentals still there? Are we moving in the right direction to where we want to be, which would be like these types of assets to Moon? Now, it is true that Ripple, the company, does not equal XRP, but as the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, has said many a time, it's not just about going in there and selling them on XRP, because a lot of these big banks are still kind of hesitant as far as the whole, is this cryptocurrency? Is this really what I want to do? Because I heard this is for like illegal activities and KYC and anti-money laundering. So he just starts with what we call in the marketing business a tripwire, which is Ripple. And later on down the road, we've seen other banks just convert to using XRP because it is faster, it is less expensive, and it provides for on-demand liquidity. And we've talked about this in numerous other videos, and I don't want to talk about it today again and again and again, but basically it's just giving these types of partners just the ability to not pre-fund all these accounts throughout the globe, and they can spend more money and save more money as far as a business goes. And for me, it's a win-win situation as I see it. So this is great news. Let's move on. Next up, this altcoin looks ready to outpace ETH and XRP in 2020, and I'll just tell you right off the bat, it's Tezos. So Tezos is one of those things that I see in the comment section a lot. I remember somebody in the comment section yesterday said that I'm pretty much an idiot for not investing into Tezos. Well, guess what? You're right, I am an idiot, and I don't like to invest into something I really don't know about. But I'm making my way, and this was actually a pretty good article to move me in that direction, but I'm still hesitant. So Tezos was one of the best performing altcoins in 2019. It's already experienced a 127% price increase during this month in just 18 days, and it has outperformed major altcoins like ETH and XRP. Sounds good so far. Tezos' price increase was probably fueled by a few different factors. First up, it was listed in a number of exchanges in 2019, starting with Coinbase back in August. That always gives these altcoins a huge bump, or a little bump, depending. It was then listed on Kraken, OKX, Bittrex, and Swiss 6 exchange in the span of a few months. So this was definitely a huge boost on Tezos' price, which saw a 116% increase, blah, 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 blah. All right. So when I read this, it began for me to start to think back in the bull run of December 2017. And back then, Coinbase was it, man. I mean, Coinbase was like the big thing, and then Binance was a secondary. But even during the bull run of 2017, Binance shut down for new registrations. I mean, they didn't shut the exchange down. They shut down new registrations because they had such an influx. So that actually hindered the bull run. I think it would have been much bigger. And if you think about this, Now that Coinbase has all these coins and all these options, I mean, they got a ton. Back then, XRP was huge, but it could have been so much bigger if Coinbase would have got off their duff and just listed XRP, because it would have gone hugely. I mean, if you had a Bitcoin that was selling for 17, well, it was 10,000, then 12, then 17, then $19,000. Ethereum, when I got in, was around 300, and went to 470, 800, 1200, and then you had this thing called XRP, and you're like, what's that? It's only for 50 cents, $1, $2, $2.80. Well, I'll try that. But didn't happen. But that's why I am excited about this bull run. I think it's going to be big, and not just for XRP. I think it's going to be big for everything that's out there. And Tezos could be one of those huge movers. We will see. Moving on. It states this was only the beginning, as most exchanges are eventually announced support for Tezos staking. Coinbase, Kraken, and even Binance are currently supporting Tezos staking. I know Coinbase, I see it all the time. Currently, 78.5% of Tezos circulating supply is being staked with an average yearly return of 5.79%. Think about that. Where do you get 5.79% for essentially doing nothing? I mean, that's a pretty good deal, and it's one of those things where I start to lean into it, like, maybe I should look a little bit harder at Tezos. Tezos Foundation also secured a number of partnerships in 2019. They partnered with Securitize, GlobalCap, Fundament Group, and a few others. So great, making different strides. They're doing what business is supposed to do, providing strategic partnerships to grow throughout their lifespan as a business. Here's where it gets a little dicey. Is Tezos a bubble? So as Tezos price continues to increase, analysts and traders seem to be worried about a possible bubble. This is Alex Saunders. He states, Tezos the top 10, let's be real. How many apps, developers, community, and network effect does Tezos have? I've already heard of forks happening because people aren't happy. 80% coins are staking, reducing the available supply. And this is going to fall hard once the euphoria ends. Am I wrong? I don't know. I don't know much about Tezos. I'm sure you do who are listening to this video. So put in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen with Tezos? I have no idea. I've done a little bit of research as far as Tezos go. I know the article, the last thing it states here is a Twitter user know that almost 80% of the coins are staked, and once people start selling, it could create a snowball effect and crash the price hard. But here's my question. If you're getting 5.79% interest, why would you start selling? I mean, if the fundamentals change, I suppose, if it's found out to be that, I don't know, something crazy like the owners are, Satan incarnate or something, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if the fundamentals are there, what's the problem? But it does make me think a little bit. I had to take a little research. So Tezos was developed by ex-Morgan Stanley analyst Arthur Brightman. Positive. Tezos is a multi-purpose platform that supports dApps and smart contracts. Positive, positive. The market rank is 10. The Tezos ROI since its inception would have been 678%. Positive, positive, positive. Market cap is over 2 billion. 24-hour volume 209 million. Circulating supply 701 million. Total supply 701 million. So I tried to find out if this was pre-mined or not. This would indicate to me that it's pre-mined, but I couldn't find the right data. So if you're out there, let me know. But it seems to me like this would be somewhat pre-mined or partially pre-mined. Was it an ICO? I think it was an ICO actually. Well, it has to be an ICO, of course. And then here's the all-time high was $4.46, and right now it's $3.66. So that's we're looking at 75%, 80% of what it used to be. So not too bad, and it's in the 10th place. So check, 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 check. Looks pretty good. However, there's a lawsuit, and this is the same type of a lawsuit that's going on with XRP. Apparently, it's still going on. This was written in November of 2019, so not too long ago. And it's a securities lawsuit. So the federal lawsuit concerns Tezos security. The suit was not filed by the SEC. They're being sued by private parties who are seeking a refund and damages for their investment, which is just people who are butthurt because they lost money and they weren't smart enough to get out when they're supposed to get out, or they don't have the patience to just hodl. So I do not suffer fools, and if that's their problem, then they should move on. However, every court case needs to be heard, especially if you have money to pay the lawyer, so we'll see what happens. Same thing with XRP. Is there security or not? And we're going to get into that a little bit later. So put in your comments below. What do you think about Tezos? Could this be a positive investment? What's going on? Is there developer activity? Are there dApps being developed? What utility is it having, and what problem does it actually solve? What's going on? Let me know. Moving on. Visa is teaming up with Coinbase to issue Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP debit cards. When I saw this, woo, was I excited, because I like to see this types of mass adoption. Remember, cryptocurrency digital assets are going to take off to the moon when people like your grandmother don't have to understand exactly what's going on in the background. Right now, there's like these, there's private keys and public keys, and you gotta, hold on to your private keys, and you have these long strings of code to send and QR codes to scan. It's just kind of confusing for the majority. So if you get something like a debit card, hey, just power this up. Use Coinbase, put it on there. You can pay with cryptocurrencies, and yeah, works out pretty well. That's a great thing. No one has to understand what's going on in the background. Look, if you're older, like myself, you remember what it was like before the internet. When the internet came on, it was kind of cumbersome to kind of work with. You're like, what the hell? There's these, and then there's like these weird sounds that's going on when you have to connect to dial-up. And then, for email and TCP/IP, it was a pain in the ass sometimes. But now no one thinks about that. It just works. Same thing with cryptocurrency digital assets. So, into this story, it talks about the partnership between the two to streamline crypto usage deals a blow to the middlemen who are always cutting a piece of the user's funds in exchange for the facilitation of payments. And I read this and I was like, what? Isn't that essentially what Visa and Coinbase do? I mean, when I purchase things on Coinbase, there's a fee. Visa, 2.99% or 1% depending on what you're doing as far as like e-commerce or whatnot, but they take a piece of that, so I don't know what that part is all about. But moving on, it talks about it's in itself a sign that more players in the financial sector are finally ready to ditch the competition and join the crypto bandwagon. And when I see things like Visa coming on board, you can't get any bigger than that. That's huge. And if we would have gotten news like this during the bull run of 2017, people would have lost their minds. They would have been FOMOing like crazy. So right now, I think these types of stories are hitting at the right time, and I believe 2020 and 2021 are going to be huge years. Let's move on. The proposed new debit card will facilitate these three: XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum payments. Only those three. That is it. So I am excited about this, and I'd like to see how this all works out. It states, in essence, Visa and Coinbase are basically promoting the adoption of the three cryptos, which is a good thing for the market, and I could not agree more. I think this is awesome. There's two things for me. So first of all, if you're in the US, don't get excited because it's only available in the UK and Europe. That's why this year, I believe, is the year of regulation. In 2020, there are 21 different bills on the docket for Congress to vote upon and to kind of hash out. And I believe once they start to get more direction, this space will blow up. It will blow up because it'll allow different businesses and financial institutions to go, okay, now we know what's going to happen. Now we know the tax rules. Now we know securities or commodities or what it is, and we can kind of put everything in place. They've already built most of the framework. They're just waiting for regulation, and that is huge. And once we get regulation and I can have a debit card to go pay with coffee, and I can use XRP, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, I love to do it, which leads me to my next point. Number two, how fast will these transactions be? And this is going to play a big factor into how that whole argument about can Bitcoin buy coffee? I don't know. Some people out there are saying, yeah, they do it all the time over in Europe. And some people are like, I've tried to use Bitcoin to buy, and I can't do it to buy squat. So I am curious. And if you got a comment, please leave it in the comment section below. But once we get these debit cards, that debate gets settled real quick, real fast, and no BS. So let's see what happens. Moving on. This is where it gets good. CFTC joins the Telegram versus SEC case, shedding light on likely verdict. So a couple things to go over. First, the US CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, has recently weighed in on the Security and Exchange Commission's, or SEC's, ongoing legal battle with Telegram by filing a letter that contained its views on the case. And according to the submitted document, and this is what it looks like, this is what they link to, and it's not really anything. It's one page, and it just says, hey, the Office of General Counsel of the United States, CFTC, is respectfully invited to express its views on the issues presently before the court in the above captioned action in which its interests may be implicated. And That is essentially what it was sent to the CFTC. So they didn't say like, hey, we're going to do this way or that way in this letter, but they did state something very interesting. The CFTC's Office of General Counsel believes that all digital currencies are commodities. Let me say that again. The CFTC's Office of General Counsel believes that all digital currencies are commodities, thus implying that Telegram's Gram token is not a security and therefore not subject to registration under the Securities Act of 1933. Interesting, right? So right there you're like cut and dry. There's a little caveat. With that being said, the CFTC did concede that the Commodities Exchange Act does afford certain securities with the status of being commodities to which security laws also apply. Not to the greater extent of what it is, and I'm not a lawyer, I don't even play one on TV, but I will tell you this, when they come out there and they say, look, they're mostly commodities, they're almost all commodities, no? And then you have something like this, like, a little bit wishy-washy, sure, but it gives you leeway to saying, okay, well, these types of things, if you're going to say it's that, maybe the SEC could be lenient, or just say, look, you guys think that's what it is? We're going to give it over to you, and off it goes. But that will be settled in the courts. I believe it will be settled this year. With that being said, the CFTC, however, it is interesting to note that the CFTC's comments came just hours before an important hearing on the case was scheduled to take place, leading many crypto enthusiasts to believe that the U.S. government is trying its best to curb the growth of the country's crypto market. And I read this, I was like, huh? The CFTC just set up here in their general counsel, all digital currencies are commodities, thus implying that Telegram's not a security. That's it. So if they're saying that, but they're saying, well, there's some, certain cases, then sure, maybe there are some bad actors that they want to crack down onto. And then moving on with this story, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but there's one part here. Jeffrey Luzon, the CEO of Zenpool, a fiat gateway software solution for exchanges, wallets, and other cryptocurrency business, stated, I believe this is a case of the CFTC trying to make an example out of Gram, because if they successfully persecute Telegram, then they would set an incredibly powerful precedent to persecute other smaller projects as well, since Gram certainly has raised a lot of money compared to most other projects. I believe the SEC is doing the case against them. So when I read this, I just thought about EOS, and I'm like, who cares? Who cares if they come down? I'm going to show you one thing real quick. This is an article about the Howie Test and why it matters for crypto. So I'm just going to go over this briefly. So the Howie Test has 4 parts. Was there a monetary investment? Was there expectation of profits from the investment? Is the investment a common enterprise? And are any profit comes from the efforts of a promoter or a third party? So real quick, I want to show you that with Bitcoin, they said Bitcoin is not a security. And that was the big issue that came down the pipe. And it wasn't like a long time ago. It was October 1st, 2019. The SEC ruled Bitcoin not a security, saying, among other things, we do not believe that current purchasers of Bitcoin are relying on the essential managerial and entrepreneurial efforts of others to produce a profit. It is decentralized, essentially. And that's the big thing, decentralized. Now we're going to go on to Ethereum. Ethereum was declared not a security in late 2018. William Hinman, director of the Division of Corporate Finance, the SEC, stated, based on my understanding of the present state of Ether, the Ethereum network and its decentralized structure, current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions. Moving on, let's talk about EOS. EOS got the brunt of it, and they said yes, when EOS was an ICO, there was all the way considered a security. Bad news for EOS, right? Should have gone away and wilted because the big bad SEC brought down the hammer. Well, not so fast, because they did bring down the hammer. And what they said was EOS maker Block One must pay $24 million in penalties for conducting an unregistered securities sale, the SEC states. The SEC said in a press release that Block One raised the equivalent of several $1 billion over a 1-year period in an unregistered ICO. A total of $4 billion was raised. They got fined $24 million, which amounts to 0.58% of the initial raise. Imagine If you could go out, and this works for the banks too, we've seen this all the time, like banks make trillions, billions and billions and billions of dollars, maybe not trillions, billions, and they get slapped on the wrist with like 50 million, 100 million, whatever else it is. And just like, what's the point? Because they'll just be like, oh, well, you charge us 100 million, well that sucks, but we made, 100 billion, so we're just going to keep doing the same thing. With EOS here, I mean, they got a slap on the wrist. The SEC is like, hey, you guys really effed up, so we're going to 24 million, pay us. You can keep your $4 billion, but 24 million. So the same thing with like what's going on with this Telegram. I'm thinking to myself, even if the SEC comes down and they want to make an example, the same thing was said about EOS. We're going to make EOS an example, and they sure did, boy, they did. $24 million. I don't think it's going to be that bad, even if they do come down. And the CFTC is even there going, no, we think that all of them are commodities. So we'll see. But the real question I had after this was, well, I own EOS. Am I going to be charged as having a security? But in its own press release, Block One said the settlement only applies to the sale of the original ERC20 tokens sold. EOS holders swapped their Ethereum-based tokens with the proper EOS tokens when the network first went live. More significantly, Block One statement said that its ERC20 token is no longer in circulation and will not require the token to be registered as a security with the SEC. So, what do you think about that? Put in the comments section below. I'd love to hear what you think. But in my humble opinion, I don't think the SEC, if they do come down, won't be that much. I mean, they could. I just don't see it happening because EOS was supposed to be the example, and here we are with that. Well, that's it for today, my friends. Thanks for sticking with me through the rants. I really appreciate it. If you've got time, about 2 or 3 minutes, we're going to go over the scam of the day, and I could really use your help because it is getting to me that there's these these four scams that just do not get wiped away. We've done a heck of a job with all the rest of these scams getting moved out of the way, but these 4 are stubborn as hell. I don't understand it. First of all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I will say this, if you're to find the scam of the day, in every description of every video I do is going to be a section titled Scam of the Day. And next to that will be a link. You just click on that link, it's going to take you to this Google Spreadsheet where you see the scam of the day. And if you're not familiar with scams, I can help you out. Just treat everything like it is a scam until proven otherwise. If you think that Ripple's giving away free money, go to the official Ripple website, send them an email and ask them. If you think Binance is doing an airdrop, go to the Binance official website and ask them. If you think Ledger, you get the point. Just go to the website and ask them. It takes 24 hours. They'll get back to you. And 10 times out of 10, they're going to tell you no. So that's it. So to help us out, and this is why we're doing it, because this is the year, these next 2 years are critical, I believe, for cryptocurrency digital markets. I believe that it's going to be a monumental FOMO, or a lot of people are going to get into this, and if they come in and get screwed out of their money, one person tells 10, 10 tells 1,000, and then so on and so forth. So let's make it hospitable for them to come in here and, invest with us and be part of the community. Well, how do we do that? Let's get rid of some of these scams that are going right now. So click on this link here. It's going to take you to this crappy video that's going on. And there's 2 things I want you to check. First, always check the comments so we can see right here. Yeah, it looks like a scam. That doesn't mean anything. Could just be a bunch of haters who don't like this video. But we're looking for something that says like this, an asymmetrical giveaway. To verify your address, just send from 1,000 to 1,000,000 XRP, and you're going to get 10,000 to 10 million back. You're not special. No one's giving you free money. So let's take care of this. Let's downvote it. Click on these 3 dots. Let's report it. And to report, all you got to do is say, hey, this is spam. Choose one. It is scam or fraud. I'm going to click next, and I'm going to say, this is a scam. And report it, and you're done for the day. And you've done your good deed. You can go about your day and feel good that you are helping other people who you don't even know. So I want to say thanks. Thanks for sticking me through the last rant. And if you like these types of videos, there's going to be 2 that are going to pop up. Help us out. Watch a video that might interest you. They're curated for your viewing pleasure. And thank you. If not, I will say thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.